Welcome. This is a calm story. This evening, we explore one of the mysteries of our world. You can listen with curiosity, or you can simply relax. There is nothing you need to do. Just listen, and let the story begin. There are moments in history where confusion was not an accident, but a carefully considered choice. Some hidden passages were deliberately misleading. They were designed to suggest one destination, while quietly leading somewhere else entirely. A corridor might appear straight and welcoming at first, only to bend unexpectedly, narrowing just enough to slow the traveler's steps. Doorways hinted at safety, yet opened into uncertainty. These passages did not rush those who entered them. Instead, they encouraged hesitation. Each turn gently eroded confidence, replacing certainty with quiet doubt. The stone itself played a role. Walls were sometimes uneven, subtly angled, causing footsteps to drift off-center. Ceilings lowered without warning, making people instinctively bow their heads. In moments like these, the passage became less about movement and more about psychology. The builders understood that confusion could be as powerful as any locked door. Even now, imagining such spaces invites us to slow down, to feel how easily the mind can be guided when certainty is removed. In other castles, the intention went even deeper. Some passages were intentionally disorienting, crafted to disturb the sense of direction entirely. These corridors twisted in ways that defied logic, doubling back on themselves, or looping gently without obvious markers. Sounds echoed unpredictably, making footsteps seem closer or farther than they truly were. A whispered word might linger longer than expected, floating through the stone like a memory refusing to settle. Temperature shifts added to the effect. Cool air followed warmth, then faded again. After only a short distance, even experienced travelers could lose their sense of where they had come from. These passages were lessons carved in stone, reminders that orientation is fragile, and that certainty is often an illusion. Walking through them meant surrendering control, allowing the castle itself to decide the pace and direction of your journey. Darkness was another quiet collaborator. Some secret corridors were intentionally darkened, not through neglect, but through careful planning. Windows were omitted entirely, and torches were spaced far apart, leaving wide pools of shadow between small islands of light. In these dim stretches, time seemed to soften. Steps slowed naturally. Breathing became more noticeable. The darkness invited listening rather than seeing. In such passages, imagination filled the space left by sight. The walls felt closer, the ceiling heavier. Each sound, fabric brushing stone, a foot shifting weight, became amplified. These corridors were never meant to be rushed. They encouraged caution, silence, and introspection. Even centuries later, thinking about these darkened paths creates a sense of calm, as if the shadows themselves are asking us to rest our thoughts. Some passages were not designed to confuse space at all. Instead, some were meant to confuse time. These corridors stretched perception rather than distance. They were often longer than expected, gently curving, so the end was never visible. Without reference points, seconds blended into minutes. A short walk could feel endless, while a long passage might seem strangely brief. Silence played a key role. Without sound or light to mark progress, the mind lost its usual anchors. Time slowed, then softened, then drifted. These passages were not traps, but thresholds, spaces where the outside world faded away. In them, urgency had no place. Only movement remained, steady and unhurried, like a slow breath carried through stone. Many hidden passages did not survive in memory. Within just a few generations, many were forgotten entirely. As castles changed hands, purposes shifted. New walls were built, old doors sealed, and quiet corridors slipped out of collective awareness. Servants who once knew every turn passed away. Stories grew vague. What was once familiar became rumor. Eventually, the passages became ghosts within the structure, present but unnoticed. They existed without witnesses, holding dust and silence instead of footsteps. Forgetting was not sudden. It happened gently, over time, like sleep slowly overtaking wakefulness. The passage did not disappear. It simply waited. Some hidden passages outlived the castles themselves. Long after towers collapsed and outer walls crumbled, certain hidden corridors remained quietly intact. Buried beneath layers of fallen stone and soil, these passages were protected from wind, fire, and time. Above them, roofs caved in and rooms filled with rubble. Below, the passage waited. Its walls still held their shape. Its silence deepened. As centuries passed, nature slowly reclaimed the castle above. Grass covered the ruins. Trees rooted themselves where halls once stood. Travelers walked past without knowing what lay beneath their feet. And still, the passage endured, unchanged in purpose but no longer needed. It became a kind of memory, preserved not in stories, but in stone. A reminder that what is hidden often lasts longer than what is seen. Within only a few generations, many hidden passages were forgotten. Knowledge of these corridors was rarely written down. It lived in memory, passed quietly from one person to another. When families died out, when servants moved on, when castles changed hands, that knowledge faded. Doors were sealed, entrances concealed behind new walls. What was once familiar became uncertain, then doubtful, then entirely unknown. For those living in the castle later on, the passage no longer existed in daily life. Yet it remained physically present, untouched and unseen. Dust settled slowly. Silence grew thicker. Forgetting did not destroy the passage. It simply allowed it to rest, waiting patiently in darkness. Not all lost passages disappeared dramatically. Much like lost libraries, most hidden corridors were not destroyed in moments of chaos or fire. Instead, they faded quietly. A doorway blocked during renovations. A staircase filled in for safety. A tunnel abandoned when its purpose ended. There was no final farewell. This slow disappearance mirrored the passage of time itself. Gradual, unnoticed. One generation unaware of what the previous had known. The corridor did not vanish. It slipped gently out of awareness, becoming part of the castle's unspoken past. Certain hidden corridors were maze-like for training purposes. These corridors were not built by chance. They were carefully designed spaces meant to teach familiarity and patience rather than to confuse. Their turns followed patterns that only those who walked them often would recognize. At first, the path felt uncertain, even disorienting. But with time, repetition transformed confusion into understanding. Guards and trusted messengers trained within these maze-like passages. They learned to notice subtle details, small changes in stone, a shift in air, or a familiar echo. These signs guided them quietly, without the need for spoken directions. What seemed like chaos to an outsider became second nature to those who belonged. Moving through the maze required calm attention. Rushing only led to mistakes. Slowing down allowed memory to settle. Over time, the corridor became a silent teacher, shaping confidence and trust. It connected not only rooms, but people to the hidden rhythms of the castle itself. Some passages were symbolic rather than practical. Not every hidden passage was created to save time or to offer escape. Some were built for meaning rather than movement. These corridors did not exist because they were necessary, but because they represented something important. Walking through them was less about reaching a destination and more about experiencing a transition. These symbolic passages often connected spaces of different purpose. Public rooms led quietly into private ones. Busy halls gave way to silence. As someone entered such a corridor, the atmosphere changed. Light softened. Sound faded. The passage created a pause, allowing the mind to slow and prepare for what came next. In this way, the corridor became a quiet message carved in stone. It marked boundaries that were not visible, but deeply felt. Even hidden from view, these passages shaped behavior and meaning, reminding those who walked them that not all journeys are meant to be efficient. Some are meant to be felt. Hidden passages shaped how castles were remembered. Even when they were no longer visible or accessible, hidden passages continued to influence how castles were spoken about and imagined. A castle known to contain secret ways felt different from one that did not. It seemed deeper, more layered, as if it held stories beneath its stone walls that were never fully told. Over time, these passages became part of the castle's identity. Legends grew quietly around them, stories of unseen movement, private meetings, and silent escapes. Whether true or not, these ideas shaped memory. People remembered not only what they could see, but what they believed might be hidden. In this way, the passage lived on through imagination. It shaped how the castle was drawn, described, and passed down through generations. Long after the corridor itself was forgotten, the sense of mystery it created remained, gently influencing how the castle was remembered. Certain hidden passages reflected social hierarchy. Not all hidden passages were equal in their design or comfort. Some were narrow, low, and intentionally inconvenient, built for servants who were expected to move unseen and unheard. Others were wider, smoother, and carefully concealed, reserved for nobles and those of higher status. Even in secrecy, hierarchy was preserved. The stone itself communicated these differences. Low ceilings encouraged bowed heads. Rough walls slowed movement. In contrast, privileged passages allowed quiet, effortless travel. Moving through the castle became a reflection of one's place within its social order, even when no one was watching. These corridors silently reinforced structure and expectation. They reminded those who used them that status extended beyond public rooms and into hidden spaces. In darkness and silence, the castle continued to express its hierarchy, shaping behavior through design rather than words. Secret passages occasionally had carved markers as a map. Some hidden passages contained quiet signs meant only for those who knew how to look for them. Small carvings were etched into the stone. Simple lines, subtle shapes, or faint symbols placed at careful intervals. To an unfamiliar eye, they appeared decorative or accidental. To those who understood, they formed a silent map. These markers guided movement without words. A shallow notch might signal a turn ahead. A repeated symbol could indicate a safe route or a familiar crossing. In darkness, the hand could trace these signs, reading the passage through touch rather than sight. Because they were discreet, these carvings remained unnoticed for generations. They asked for patience and attention, not speed. The passage did not announce itself. It trusted memory and quiet knowledge. Even now, imagining these markers invites a slower awareness, as if the stone itself is gently guiding the way. Hidden passages sometimes contained hidden carvings or graffiti. Within the quiet, shadowed walls of some passages, travelers left traces of themselves. Names, dates, small symbols, or simple marks were etched into stone, often almost imperceptible to the casual observer. These carvings were private expressions, tiny acts of presence in places where no one was meant to linger. Sometimes the graffiti was playful, a sketch, a set of initials, a small drawing that only the person who made it understood. Other times, it was solemn, a mark of devotion, a reminder of a loved one, or a simple record of having passed through. In the darkness of these corridors, each mark whispered a story, a brief message frozen in stone. These hidden inscriptions survived long after their creators were gone. They transformed the passage into a quiet archive of human presence. Each step through the corridor could reveal echoes of those who came before, reminding us that even in hidden places, people leave traces, and even silence can carry memory. Certain hidden corridors were lined with inscriptions of past owners. In some castles, hidden corridors were more than just secret pathways. They became quiet galleries of memory. Along the walls, names of past owners, family mottos, or heraldic symbols were carefully carved into the stone. Each inscription was a subtle reminder of those who had walked the passage long before, quietly marking their presence for anyone attentive enough to notice. These inscriptions were not meant to impress or to be seen by everyone. They were private, enduring traces, a way for families to leave their mark without drawing attention. Walking through such a corridor was like passing through layers of history. The stone carried whispers of the past, and every step felt gently guided by those who had come before. Even centuries later, the passage retained this sense of connection. The inscriptions turned ordinary walls into living memory, reminding travelers that hidden spaces could hold stories, lineage, and legacy, silent, enduring, and quietly profound. Hidden passages sometimes were used for quiet observation. Some hidden passages were designed not for movement, but for watching. From narrow slits or concealed alcoves, observers could see the comings and goings of those in the castle without being noticed themselves. These corridors allowed a subtle vigilance, where silence was more important than speed. The passage encouraged patience. Those who used it had to move slowly, listen carefully, and blend into shadow. Even the smallest noise could betray their presence, so each step was deliberate, each breath measured. In this way, the corridor itself shaped the behavior of those inside it, teaching attentiveness and restraint. Over time, these observation passages became part of the quiet rhythm of the castle. They allowed secrets to remain hidden while still ensuring awareness. They reminded us that the unseen is often as important as the visible, and that silence can hold a power all its own. Some passages were used to discreetly move animals. In certain castles, hidden passages served a practical yet quiet purpose, moving animals unseen. Horses, dogs, or other animals could be guided through narrow corridors, avoiding the bustle of main halls and courtyards. This allowed life to continue smoothly above, while the work below remained invisible. These passages were carefully designed for safe movement. Low ceilings and sturdy walls ensured animals would not be startled. Turns were gentle, floors solid. The air carried the faint scent of hay, stone, and quiet activity. For those walking alongside the animals, the rhythm of hooves and paws became a steady, calming presence. In this way, the castle maintained its order without disrupting appearances. The hidden corridors became silent helpers, carrying life quietly through the structure. Even now, imagining such passages brings a gentle sense of motion and calm, a reminder that unseen spaces often sustain the visible world above. Certain passages were connected to kitchens. Some hidden corridors led quietly to kitchens, linking bustling spaces of preparation with distant halls or private rooms. These passages allowed food, drink, and supplies to move without disturbing guests or interrupting ceremonies. The activity remained unseen, preserving the calm and order of the castle above. The corridors were designed for efficiency and discretion. Sturdy floors carried the weight of baskets and trays. Low ceilings and narrow walls guided movements carefully, ensuring that cooks, servants, and assistants could navigate smoothly even in dim light. The faint warmth and aroma of bread, herbs, or roasting meats sometimes lingered in the air, a subtle presence in these hidden routes. By connecting kitchens to other areas, these passages shaped daily life. Meals appeared when expected, drinks were refreshed without interruption, and the rhythm of service flowed quietly. In imagining them, one can sense the careful orchestration, the silent choreography that allowed the castle to function seamlessly, all hidden behind stone walls. Some hidden corridors connected to private libraries. In certain castles, hidden passages led quietly to private libraries, granting access to books and scrolls without drawing attention. These corridors allowed scholars, nobles, or trusted servants to enter and exit with discretion, preserving the solitude and secrecy of study. The passages themselves were often narrow and lined with stone, muffling footsteps and softening sound. Light was carefully controlled, so it would not disturb nearby rooms or reveal the path to outsiders. As one moved along these quiet corridors, the air seemed stiller, carrying a faint scent of aged paper, leather bindings, and polished wood. These hidden routes shaped the experience of learning and reflection. They allowed knowledge to be sought privately, safely, and uninterrupted. Walking through them was a gentle journey, not just from one room to another, but from the ordinary world into the quiet sanctuary of thought. Some passages allowed nobles to bypass social rituals. In certain castles, hidden passages gave nobles the ability to move unseen, avoiding the formalities and public attention of daily life. These corridors allowed them to travel between private chambers, dining halls, or gardens without participating in elaborate ceremonies or gatherings. The design of these passages encouraged quiet and discretion. Stone walls muffled footsteps. Gentle turns guided travelers smoothly from one space to another. Shadows softened movement, making the corridor itself a protective companion. The experience of moving in secret created a different kind of freedom, one that was invisible to the outside world, yet deeply felt by those who knew the route. These passages shaped the rhythm of aristocratic life. They allowed for privacy, quick movement, and selective presence, ensuring that appearances could be maintained above, while reality flowed quietly below. In imagining these corridors, one can sense the calm efficiency and subtle control they offered, a hidden network shaping the experience of life within the castle. Hidden passages influenced daily castle rhythms. Hidden passages quietly shaped the daily life of a castle, guiding movement, timing, and routine. Servants, messengers, and even nobles learned to move along these secret corridors, adjusting their pace and steps to the unseen paths beneath the visible halls. The corridors themselves imposed a rhythm. Narrow turns and low ceilings encouraged slow, deliberate movement. Subtle changes in stone and shadow guided travelers without words. Even the simplest tasks, carrying food, delivering messages, or moving quietly between rooms, became synchronized with the silent tempo of the castle. Through these hidden routes, life above could flow uninterrupted. Feasts proceeded on schedule, private meetings remained discreet, and the bustle of service was orchestrated invisibly. The passageways shaped not just movement, but the feel of time itself within the castle, reminding us that unseen spaces quietly determine the cadence of everyday life. Some passages were used to move light, not people. Not all hidden passages were meant for footsteps or travelers. In some castles, certain corridors were designed to carry light from one room to another, guiding faint illumination through otherwise dark spaces. Narrow shafts, reflective surfaces, or carefully placed openings allowed sunlight, torchlight, or candlelight to travel quietly along hidden routes. These passages worked like silent channels, bringing brightness to corners that would otherwise remain in shadow. The movement of light followed a gentle rhythm, shifting with the sun, flickering with flames, or softly revealing walls and floors as it passed. Those who knew the castle well could sense this subtle flow, a quiet awareness of illumination moving just out of sight. In this way, the castle itself became a living interplay of darkness and light. Hidden corridors did more than connect rooms. They carried presence without movement, warmth without noise, and the quiet magic of illumination, shaping perception and atmosphere in subtle, almost imperceptible ways. Certain corridors doubled as acoustic chambers. Some hidden corridors were more than simple passageways. They were shaped to influence sound. Their walls, angles, and ceilings sometimes created natural echoes or carried voices from one area to another, turning a simple corridor into a quiet acoustic chamber. Footsteps, whispers, or even the faintest murmur could travel along the stone in surprising ways. A person moving through the corridor could listen carefully, hearing distant sounds from other rooms or corridors as though the walls themselves were speaking. In other cases, voices could be projected subtly, carrying instructions or messages without being overheard by those in the main halls. These acoustic properties added another layer to the castle's hidden life. Corridors became instruments of both communication and secrecy, shaping how information flowed quietly within the stone walls. Walking through such a space was a reminder that even silence has texture, and that stone can hold, guide, and transform sound as effortlessly as it holds its own weight. Certain passages were used for controlled disappearances. Some hidden passages were designed to allow people to vanish quietly, without alarm or spectacle. These corridors offered a way to leave a room, a gathering, or even the castle itself without being noticed. Doors were concealed behind tapestries or panels, opening silently into shadow. The movement through these passages was deliberate and calm. There was no urgency, no rush. The corridor absorbed sound, softened footsteps, and gently guided the traveler away from view. To those left behind, the person simply seemed to be gone, as if they had faded into the stone. These controlled disappearances served many purposes: privacy, safety, or discretion. They allowed life within the castle to continue smoothly, uninterrupted by questions or attention. In imagining these passages, one can sense their quiet power, the ability to remove oneself from the world, not abruptly, but gently, leaving only silence behind. Some hidden passages were built to trap smells. Some hidden passages were designed to hold scents rather than let them escape. Thick stone walls, low ceilings, and limited airflow allowed smells to linger quietly in place. Cooking aromas, smoke from torches, or the scent of herbs would settle into the corridor instead of drifting into public rooms. These passages helped preserve the atmosphere of the castle above. Feasting halls remained fresh. Private chambers stayed undisturbed. The corridor absorbed what was not meant to be shared, acting as a silent buffer between spaces of different purpose. Over time, these trapped scents became part of the passage's identity. The stone held memory in the air itself. Even long after the castle fell quiet, imagining these corridors invites a sense of stillness, where nothing rushes forward, not sound, not movement, not even scent. Certain passages were designed to trap light. Some hidden passages were created to hold light within them, rather than let it escape. Their stone surfaces were shaped to absorb or soften illumination, preventing it from spilling into nearby rooms. Torches and lanterns glowed gently, their light contained calm and deliberate. These corridors allowed movement without revealing presence. Shadows remained steady. No flicker reached the walls beyond. Light became something carefully managed, treated almost like a secret itself. Those who walked these passages learned to move within a quiet glow, never fully bright, never fully dark. Over time, this trapped light shaped the atmosphere of the corridor. It slowed perception and softened thought. The passage became a space of gentle illumination, where brightness rested instead of traveled, inviting calm awareness and unhurried movement through stone and shadow. Hidden corridors occasionally had sound-reflecting niches. Some hidden corridors were shaped to interact with sound. Small niches were carved into the walls, angled in ways that reflected or redirected noise. A whisper might travel farther than expected, while footsteps could echo softly back toward the listener. These niches allowed sound to move gently through the corridor without spreading into nearby rooms. Voices were contained, guided, and sometimes amplified just enough to be understood by someone who knew where to stand. The passage itself became part of the conversation, shaping how sound behaved. In these spaces, listening became as important as speaking. Silence was never empty. It was layered with subtle echoes and returning whispers. Walking through such a corridor invited careful attention, reminding us that sound, like light, can be quietly shaped by stone. Certain secret corridors were lined with decorative carvings. Some secret corridors were quietly adorned with decorative carvings, even though few people ever saw them. Patterns of leaves, symbols, or gentle geometric shapes were etched into the stone, adding beauty to places meant to remain hidden. These carvings were not created for display, but for presence. They softened the feeling of isolation and reminded those who walked the passage that care and intention existed even in unseen spaces. Light from a lantern would brush against the carvings, creating gentle shadows that moved slowly along the walls. Over time, these decorations became companions to the corridor itself. They offered comfort rather than spectacle. Imagining them now invites a sense of calm, as if the stone wished to be kind to those passing quietly through its depths. Some passages occasionally contain niches for meditation or reflection. Some hidden passages included small niches set into the stone, just large enough for a person to pause and rest. These spaces were not meant for movement, but for stillness. A traveler could step aside, sit quietly, and allow the corridor to settle around them. In these niches, sound softened and light dimmed. The passage offered a moment of separation from the castle's activity above. Breathing slowed. Thoughts became quieter. The stone walls created a sense of enclosure that felt protective rather than confining. These small spaces invited reflection rather than urgency. They allowed time to stretch gently, turning a journey into a pause. Even now, imagining such niches brings a feeling of calm, as if the passage itself encouraged rest, awareness, and quiet presence. Some passages occasionally had small niches for candles or lanterns. Some hidden passages were fitted with small niches carved into the walls, designed to hold candles or lanterns. These recesses kept flames steady and protected, allowing light to remain calm and controlled within the corridor. The soft glow from these niches created gentle pools of light along the passage. Shadows moved slowly, stretching and fading as one walked by. The corridor never felt fully illuminated, yet it was never completely dark. The light guided without overwhelming, offering reassurance rather than clarity. These candle niches shaped the atmosphere of the passage. They encouraged slow movement and careful attention. Even in silence, the warm glow suggested presence and safety, reminding travelers that light, like the passage itself, could exist quietly and with purpose. Hidden stairways often twisted in the opposite direction of expected attacks. Some hidden stairways were designed to turn in ways that felt unexpected. Instead of spiraling in the direction attackers might anticipate, they twisted the other way, subtly changing balance and movement. This design gave advantage to those who knew the stairwell well. As one climbed or descended, the curve of the stairs influenced posture and pace. Steps encouraged caution. The walls felt closer, the turns tighter. For someone unfamiliar, movement became slower and less certain, while those accustomed to the stairway moved with calm confidence. These stairways shaped experience as much as defense. They reminded travelers that architecture could guide behavior quietly. Even in moments of tension, the stone asked for awareness and control, turning simple movement into a slow, deliberate act. Spiral stairs could be completely invisible from the outside. Some spiral staircases were built so carefully that they were impossible to detect from the outside. Hidden within thick walls or tucked behind false stone panels, they left no visible trace on the castle's exterior. From beyond the walls, there was no sign that movement was happening within. Inside, these staircases unfolded quietly, step by step. The curve of the stone absorbed sound, and the tight spiral encouraged slow, deliberate movement. Light faded gradually as one descended or climbed, creating a gentle sense of separation from the world outside. These invisible stairs allowed the castle to keep its secrets. They made movement possible without announcement, presence without visibility. Imagining them now brings a calm sense of mystery, as if the castle itself knew how to breathe inward, holding its motion quietly within. Narrow hidden corridors sometimes forced one person at a time. Some hidden corridors were so narrow that only a single person could pass through at once. Stone walls pressed close on either side, encouraging careful, deliberate movement. There was no room for hurrying or side-by-side walking. Each step had to be measured. The tight space created a quiet focus. Travelers moved slowly, attentive to the stone beneath their feet, and the walls brushing their shoulders. The corridor dictated rhythm, transforming what could have been a hurried passage into a gentle, solitary journey. Even when empty, these corridors seemed to hold presence. The narrowness reminded visitors of patience, of slowing down, and of the careful choreography required to move through hidden spaces. In imagining them, one senses how the passage itself teaches mindfulness, step by step, wall to wall. Some passages had different flooring textures to navigate by feel. In certain hidden corridors, the floors were intentionally varied to provide subtle guidance. Rough stone, smooth tiles, or slightly raised sections allowed travelers to sense their location by touch alone. Even in darkness, movement could be steady, confident, and careful. Walking through these passages became a tactile experience. Feet could detect changes, signaling turns, steps, or junctions ahead. The stone communicated without words, offering reassurance and direction through texture and sensation. Travelers learned to trust their feet, moving slowly, deliberately, and attentively. These textured floors turned the corridor into more than a path. They became a quiet teacher. The passage guided movement gently, encouraging mindfulness, focus, and calm. Even centuries later, imagining this experience evokes a sense of patience and careful presence, step by step along the stone. Some secret corridors doubled as storage spaces. Certain hidden corridors were used not just for movement, but also as quiet storage. Shelves carved into walls, alcoves built into niches, and empty spaces along the stone could hold supplies, tools, or objects meant to remain out of sight. These corridors served a practical purpose while remaining secret. Moving through such a passage required care. Travelers had to navigate around stored items, adjusting steps and pace. The presence of these objects added texture to the space, softening the emptiness of stone and shadow. Every corner held purpose, every niche a hidden utility. By combining movement and storage, these corridors reflected careful planning. They allowed the castle to function efficiently while maintaining discretion. Imagining these spaces now evokes a sense of quiet order, a gentle rhythm where stone, shadow, and object coexist in calm harmony. Some hidden passages were built during the original construction. Certain hidden passages were planned and constructed at the same time as the castle itself. They were not additions or afterthoughts, but integral parts of the design. From the very beginning, the builders imagined spaces meant to remain unseen, woven seamlessly into walls, foundations, and floors. These original passages followed the rhythm of the castle, aligning with main halls, chambers, and staircases while remaining discreet. The stone was carefully shaped, joints perfectly fitted, and angles planned to conceal entrances. Every curve, every niche was intentional. Walking through such a corridor, even today in imagination, feels as though the castle itself guides you. It has existed from the moment the first stones were laid, quietly waiting, silent and steadfast, a hidden companion of the castle's history. Some passages were deliberately unfinished. Not all hidden passages were completed. Some were intentionally left unfinished, with rough stone walls, uneven floors, or ceilings that stopped abruptly. These incomplete corridors were often intended to mislead, discourage exploration, or mark boundaries that were never meant to be crossed. The unfinished quality added a subtle sense of mystery. Travelers moving through them would feel the abrupt changes, sense the roughness beneath their hands and feet, and become aware of the passage's limits. Silence and stillness were heightened in these spaces, as if the stone itself was holding back, waiting. Even today, imagining these unfinished corridors creates a quiet awareness of imperfection and intention. They remind us that a passage does not need to be complete to be meaningful, and that the absence of finish can guide movement and perception as much as the presence of polish. Certain passages followed natural rock formations. Some hidden passages were shaped to follow the natural contours of the rock beneath the castle. Instead of forcing the stone into straight lines, builders worked with the existing formations, carving corridors that curved gently along ridges, dips, and natural crevices. Walking through these passages, one could feel the rhythm of the earth beneath the walls. The stone floor rose and fell subtly. Ceilings varied in height. Walls seemed to breathe with the natural contours, creating a quiet harmony between human construction and the land itself. These corridors invited careful attention and slow movement. They were not simply tunnels, but extensions of the natural landscape, blending craftsmanship with geology. Imagining them now evokes a sense of calm continuity, where the castle and the rock beneath it exist together, quietly and patiently. Some passages were built to follow the terrain. Certain hidden passages were carefully designed to follow the natural terrain outside and beneath the castle. Hills, slopes, and uneven ground influenced the direction, height, and length of the corridors, creating a quiet harmony between architecture and landscape. Walking through these passages, travelers experienced subtle rises and dips, gentle turns, and sometimes unexpected slopes. The stone seemed to guide movement in rhythm with the land itself, encouraging careful, deliberate steps. Every curve reflected the contours above, as if the castle were quietly tracing the shape of the earth beneath it. These passages show the patience and foresight of their builders. They were not meant to dominate the terrain, but to work with it, creating hidden ways that felt natural and seamless. Imagining them now evokes a sense of calm connection, where human design and the land moved together in quiet accord. Some hidden passages were accessible only from elevated positions. Certain hidden passages could be entered only from high vantage points, balconies, towers, or raised platforms. Doors, hatches, or narrow openings required climbing, careful balance, and awareness of height. These elevated entrances made the corridors secret and controlled, visible only to those who knew where to look. Moving into these passages demanded focus. Steps were measured, hands brushing stone for support. The air felt different, cooler and slightly thinner, as one descended into the corridor below. The elevated perspective offered both a sense of security and a quiet thrill. The knowledge that entry was deliberate, private, and carefully guarded. These hidden routes shaped access and movement. They ensured secrecy, maintained control, and created a connection between high and low spaces within the castle. Imagining them now invites a slow, measured awareness of space, height, and deliberate passage, a gentle reminder of the castle's layered design. Certain passages were built with cooling in mind. Some hidden passages were designed to remain naturally cool, providing relief from the warmth of the castle above. Thick stone walls, narrow openings, and strategic airflow kept the air inside fresh and calm, creating corridors that felt almost like quiet retreats. Walking through these passages, travelers could feel the temperature drop subtly. The cool stone underfoot and the gentle shift in air made movement slower and more deliberate. The corridor itself seemed to breathe, absorbing warmth and offering a gentle, constant calm. These passages were practical, yet also shaped perception and experience. They offered comfort and quiet, creating a space where time seemed to slow. Even now, imagining such corridors brings a sense of cool serenity, as if the castle itself is providing a private moment of ease and reflection. Certain passages were built to avoid structural weaknesses. Some hidden passages were carefully designed to follow the strongest parts of the castle, avoiding areas that might be unstable or prone to collapse. Builders considered the weight of stone, the placement of walls, and the natural stresses of the structure, creating corridors that were both safe and discreet. Walking through these passages, one could sense the solidity beneath their feet. Floors were level and walls sturdy, giving confidence with every step. Even in darkness, the stone felt reassuring, as if the castle itself was guiding and protecting those who moved within it. These passages demonstrate the thoughtful integration of safety and secrecy. They allowed movement without risk, blending the practical needs of architecture with the hidden rhythm of the castle. Imagining them now brings a sense of calm stability, a quiet trust in the unseen foundations that support both stone and passage. Hidden staircases were frequently built inside walls. Many hidden staircases were tucked inside the thick walls of a castle, completely invisible from the main rooms or corridors. The walls themselves became containers for movement, with steps carved carefully into the stone, creating passages that were both functional and secret. Traveling these staircases felt different from walking in open halls. Steps were narrower, ceilings closer, and the stones surrounding you on all sides. The sound of footsteps was softened by the thick walls, and light from above barely reached the lower levels. Movement became deliberate, careful, and intimate, guided by touch and memory rather than sight. These hidden staircases served both practical and defensive purposes. They allowed quiet, controlled movement between levels while preserving the secrecy of the castle's design. Imagining them now evokes a sense of closeness to the stone itself, and the calm awareness of moving through spaces designed to be unseen, yet entirely secure. Some passages had intentional curves to prevent line-of-sight observation. Certain hidden passages were built with deliberate curves and bends, preventing anyone from seeing straight through them. These subtle angles ensured that movement along the corridor remained unseen from entrances, rooms, or other passages. Walking through such a corridor required gentle attention. The walls guided the traveler around each turn, softening the rhythm of movement and creating a sense of privacy. Shadows shifted slowly along the curves, adding to the quiet mystery of the space. These curved passages shaped the experience of secrecy. They allowed individuals to move discreetly, while the castle itself controlled perception and line of sight. Even now, imagining them brings a feeling of careful navigation, where every step is measured and the stone itself ensures concealment and calm. Certain passages were angled to capture faint scents. Some hidden passages were subtly angled or shaped to carry faint scents through the castle. The curvature of walls, the direction of ventilation shafts, and the careful placement of openings allowed aromas to travel gently from one space to another. Walking through these corridors, one might sense the distant smell of herbs, smoke, or cooking drifting quietly along the stone. These scents were never overwhelming, but softly present, hinting at activity in other parts of the castle. The passage became a silent connector, guiding attention through smell as much as movement. These scented corridors added another layer to the castle's hidden life. They shaped perception subtly, allowing those who knew the paths to experience the castle through more than sight or sound. Imagining them now evokes a gentle awareness of presence and motion, carried invisibly along stone walls and quiet turns. Certain passages were designed to amplify stealth. Some hidden passages were crafted with stealth in mind, allowing movement without sound. Walls, floors, and ceilings were carefully constructed to absorb footsteps, muffling the weight of each step. Even the narrowest corridors were shaped to prevent echoes or sudden noises. Traveling through these passages required slow, deliberate steps. The corridor itself guided movement, encouraging caution and attention. Every turn, every stone underfoot, contributed to the quiet, allowing travelers to move unseen and unheard. These stealthy passages shaped both strategy and experience. They allowed secrecy, discretion, and calm control of movement within the castle. Imagining them now brings a sense of quiet mastery, a slow rhythm where sound is softened and presence remains unseen. Some passages were lined with sound-muffling materials. Certain hidden passages were intentionally lined with materials that absorbed sound. Soft stone, rough plaster, or subtle layers of wood reduced echoes, creating corridors where footsteps, whispers, and movement were gently silenced. Walking through these passages, travelers experienced a quiet unlike that of any open hall. Each step was cushioned by the walls, each sound diminished. The corridor seemed to hold its breath, offering calm and secrecy to anyone moving within. These sound-muffling passages shaped both perception and behavior. They encouraged slow, deliberate steps and heightened awareness of space. Imagining them now evokes a sense of hushed presence, a calm rhythm where the castle itself seems to protect silence and stillness. Certain passages were intentionally uncomfortable psychologically. Some hidden passages were designed to create subtle unease. Narrow widths, low ceilings, uneven floors, or dim light made travelers conscious of every step and movement. The discomfort was not dangerous, but it encouraged caution, attentiveness, and heightened awareness. Walking through these corridors, one could feel the walls pressing gently, the floor shifting beneath the feet, and the shadows deepening around each turn. The space influenced the mind as much as the body, reminding travelers to move deliberately, to observe, and to respect the passage. These psychologically challenging corridors shaped behavior quietly, guiding those who entered through subtle tension and awareness. Imagining them now brings a gentle focus, a slow attention to movement and presence, and a deep sense of mindfulness while moving through stone and shadow. Some secret corridors were shaped to amplify stealth. Certain secret corridors were carefully constructed to enhance the ability to move quietly. Walls, floors, and ceilings were designed to absorb sound, and angles were placed to prevent echoes from traveling into nearby rooms. Every step could be taken with confidence, without revealing presence. Moving through these passages encouraged careful, deliberate pace. Travelers learned to adjust their footsteps, to feel the stone beneath them, and to move in rhythm with the corridor itself. The space itself seemed to guide quiet movement, offering both protection and discretion. These stealth-enhancing passages shaped the experience of secrecy and control within the castle. Imagining them now evokes a sense of calm awareness, a slow and measured movement through spaces designed for silence, invisibility, and careful passage. Some hidden passages were narrow enough for only one person. Certain hidden passages were so narrow that only a single person could move through at a time. The walls pressed closely on either side, and ceilings often required a careful lowering of the head. Movement was slow, deliberate, and intimate. Walking through these corridors, travelers became aware of every step, every shift of balance, and every small sound. The narrow space encouraged focus and patience, transforming what could have been a hurried journey into a quiet, solitary experience. These tight passages shaped behavior as much as movement. They taught attentiveness and respect for the stone walls surrounding them. Imagining them now evokes a sense of calm concentration, a gentle awareness of space, and the slow rhythm of passage through secret, private corridors. Hidden corridors sometimes had deliberate curves and twists to create disorientation. Some hidden corridors were designed with intentional twists and turns, so that travelers could not see far ahead. The curves made orientation difficult, encouraging careful attention and slowing movement. Each bend revealed only a small portion of the path, keeping the rest hidden in shadow. Walking through these passages required awareness. One had to feel the floor beneath their feet, notice subtle changes in the walls, and adjust pace with every turn. The corridor itself shaped perception, creating a quiet sense of disorientation that emphasized caution and patience. These deliberately winding passages served both security and secrecy. Imagining them now evokes a calm mindfulness, a gentle focus on each step, and a slow, deliberate rhythm as one moves through stone and shadow, guided by careful design. Certain passages were maze-like to confuse intruders. Some hidden passages were deliberately shaped like mazes, with multiple turns, dead ends, and repeating patterns. Their design made it difficult for anyone unfamiliar with the castle to navigate, creating confusion and slowing movement without the need for guards or alarms. Walking through these maze-like corridors required attention and memory. Each step was deliberate, each turn carefully considered. Travelers who knew the paths moved with calm confidence, while outsiders might wander uncertainly, guided only by instinct or trial. These mazes shaped both defense and experience. They turned simple passage into an exercise in awareness and patience. Imagining them now evokes a slow, thoughtful journey, where every step matters and the rhythm of movement is measured, quiet, and deliberate. Some passages were seasonal. Certain hidden passages were used only during specific times of the year. They might be blocked, flooded, or exposed depending on weather, festivals, or agricultural cycles. Their accessibility changed with the seasons, adding a subtle rhythm to castle life. Traveling through these seasonal corridors required awareness of timing and conditions. Stone floors might be damp in winter, cooler in spring, or sun-warmed in summer. Travelers had to adjust pace and attention, moving carefully with the corridor and the season itself. These seasonal passages shaped movement and experience, connecting human activity with the natural cycles around the castle. Imagining them now evokes a gentle awareness of time, change, and the quiet interplay between stone, shadow, and the rhythm of the year. Some passages ran beneath moats or ditches. Certain hidden passages were built to pass quietly beneath moats or defensive ditches. Stone arches and reinforced walls allowed safe travel underwater or earth, creating secret routes invisible to anyone above. Walking through these subterranean corridors, travelers felt the weight of the castle above and the quiet pressure of the ground around them. Steps echoed softly against stone, and the air was cooler, heavier, and still. The sense of enclosure created a calm, protective atmosphere, as though the corridor itself shielded those moving within it. These passages combined practical defense with secrecy. They allowed movement across otherwise impossible barriers, shaping experience and strategy. Imagining them now evokes a slow, deliberate rhythm, a gentle awareness of hidden routes beneath the surface of the castle. Some passages contained hidden trapdoors above them. Certain hidden passages were fitted with trapdoors in their ceilings, concealed carefully to remain unseen. These overhead openings could lead to rooms above, escape routes, or secret observation points, adding layers of complexity to the corridor below. Walking beneath these trapdoors, travelers felt the quiet potential above. The stone walls and ceilings seemed solid, yet there was an awareness that movement or observation could occur from above. This subtle presence encouraged careful steps and attentive movement, even when the corridor appeared empty. These hidden trapdoors shaped both security and perception. They added a dimension to the passage beyond mere direction, reminding travelers that the castle was a living, layered structure. Imagining them now evokes a sense of quiet vigilance and slow, deliberate awareness while moving through shadowed stone. Certain secret corridors had double doors for extra security. Some hidden corridors were equipped with double doors, carefully constructed to reinforce privacy and security. These doors, often thick and reinforced, created layers of protection, ensuring that only those who knew the castle well could pass safely and unnoticed. Walking through such a corridor required attention and respect for the barriers. Each door opened with care, the stone surrounding it solid and reassuring. The corridor itself seemed to guide movement, slowing steps and heightening awareness, emphasizing discretion and caution. These double-door passages shaped both strategy and experience. They allowed secrecy and control, blending architecture with intention. Imagining them now evokes a calm sense of safety, patience, and deliberate motion, moving quietly through the castle's hidden layers. Some hidden corridors had niches for weapons. Certain hidden corridors included small niches built into the walls to hold weapons. Swords, daggers, or other tools could be stored discreetly, ready for use if needed, yet remaining out of sight from ordinary travelers or visitors. Walking through these corridors, one could sense the quiet presence of readiness. The niches were subtle, carved carefully into stone, and often overlooked unless known to the castle's residents. This arrangement added both security and reassurance, shaping movement with a gentle awareness of protection nearby. These weapon niches reflected thoughtfulness in design. They turned the passage into more than a route. They made it a space of preparedness and calm control. Imagining them now evokes a slow, deliberate awareness, a quiet rhythm of safety woven into the castle's hidden spaces. Some passages had emergency escape hatches. Certain hidden passages were equipped with small, discreet escape hatches. These openings allowed someone to exit quickly in case of danger, or to move unseen between areas, providing an added layer of safety within the castle. Moving through these corridors required calm awareness. The hatches were subtle, often hidden behind stone panels or tapestries, and using them demanded careful, deliberate steps. Even the air around them seemed quieter, as if the passage itself encouraged caution and patience. These escape hatches shaped both security and experience. They created routes of safety while maintaining secrecy, reminding travelers that the castle's hidden spaces were alive with thought and intention. Imagining them now evokes a gentle sense of preparedness, slow movement, and quiet confidence within stone walls. Hidden passages occasionally intersected with dungeons. Some hidden passages crossed beneath or alongside dungeons, connecting secret corridors to the castle's most secure and mysterious areas. These intersections allowed discreet movement, observation, or access without drawing attention from above. Walking through such passages, travelers could sense the weight of the spaces nearby. The air felt cooler and heavier, and the stone seemed denser, carrying the quiet echoes of distant chains, footsteps, or whispered sounds. The corridors created a rhythm of caution, inviting slow, deliberate steps and attentive awareness. These intersections shaped both security and perception. They allowed movement through the hidden depths of the castle, blending secrecy with knowledge of place. Imagining them now evokes a sense of quiet depth, slow exploration, and the gentle presence of stone guiding each careful step. Some passages followed symbolic geometry. Certain hidden passages were designed according to symbolic geometry, reflecting patterns, alignments, or proportions that held meaning beyond mere function. The layout of walls, angles, and corridors often corresponded to numbers, shapes, or alignments considered significant by the builders. Walking through these passages, one could feel the subtle harmony of space. Even unseen, the geometry shaped movement and perception, guiding travelers in ways that were quiet yet purposeful. The corridors became more than routes. They became expressions of thought, intention, and subtle order embedded in stone. These symbolically designed passages connected the practical with the philosophical. Imagining them now evokes a sense of calm reflection, a quiet awareness of hidden design, and the gentle rhythm of walking through spaces shaped by both utility and meaning. Certain passages were designed for stealthy movement of nobles. Some hidden passages were specifically created to allow nobles to move through the castle quietly and unseen. These corridors let them travel between private chambers, halls, or gardens without attracting attention from servants or visitors. Walking through such passages required slow, deliberate steps. The walls absorbed sound, and narrow turns guided movement gently. Shadows softened motion, and light was controlled to maintain discretion. Every step was measured, turning simple passage into an exercise in calm awareness. These corridors shaped both privacy and perception. They allowed nobles to navigate the castle unseen, blending utility with quiet elegance. Imagining them now evokes a sense of slow, deliberate movement, gentle shadows, and the soft rhythm of secrecy. Hidden corridors were sometimes used for moving messages silently. Some hidden corridors were designed to carry messages quietly across the castle. Couriers could move without being seen or overheard, delivering notes, instructions, or alerts while the castle above continued its routine uninterrupted. Traveling these passages required deliberate steps and careful attention. Walls absorbed sound, and narrow turns encouraged slow, mindful movement. The air seemed hushed, almost reverent, as though the stone itself respected the secrets being carried. These corridors shaped communication with subtle precision. They allowed information to travel safely and discreetly, blending secrecy with efficiency. Imagining them now evokes a sense of calm purpose, slow steps, and the gentle rhythm of messages moving silently through stone. Secret corridors sometimes connected castles to nearby towns or churches. Some hidden corridors extended beyond the castle walls, linking to nearby towns, chapels, or churches. These secret routes allowed discreet travel, supply transport, or safe passage without drawing attention from outsiders. Walking through these passages, travelers felt a quiet connection between the castle and the world beyond. The air changed subtly as the corridor stretched toward distant stone or earth. Every step was measured, deliberate, and aware of both direction and purpose. These extended passages shaped movement and strategy, allowing the castle to interact with its surroundings unseen. Imagining them now evokes a sense of calm connectivity, slow progress, and the gentle awareness of hidden routes linking stone, land, and human presence. Certain passages connected to watchtowers. Some hidden passages led directly to watchtowers, allowing quiet access for guards or nobles to move unseen while observing the surrounding lands. These corridors provided strategic mobility without exposing travelers to the castle's main areas. Walking through such passages required careful, deliberate steps. Stone walls absorbed sound, and narrow turns guided movement gently toward the tower. Light shifted subtly, creating a calm sense of anticipation as one approached elevated observation points. These connections shaped both security and awareness. They allowed observation, readiness, and quiet movement, integrating the hidden corridors seamlessly into the castle's defensive and daily rhythms. Imagining them now evokes a slow, measured journey upward, where shadow, stone, and vigilance coexist in quiet harmony. Hidden stairways favored defenders' dominant hands. Some hidden stairways were designed with defense in mind, spiraling in a direction that gave the castle's defenders an advantage. Most often, they favored the dominant hand of those defending the stairs, allowing swords to swing freely while intruders were constrained. Walking these stairways required awareness. The spiral influenced balance, stride, and posture, shaping the movement of anyone ascending or descending. Steps became deliberate, attuned to the stone, the curve, and the subtle advantage built into the architecture. These stairways combined secrecy with strategy. They shaped defense while controlling the rhythm of movement, blending protection, design, and quiet thought. Imagining them now evokes a sense of deliberate pacing, careful balance, and the subtle guidance of stone crafted with purpose. Spiral staircases in secret passages favored right or left-handed defenders. Some spiral staircases within hidden passages were intentionally built to favor right or left-handed defenders. The direction of the spiral influenced how swords or shields could be wielded, giving defenders a subtle advantage over intruders. Walking these staircases required slow, deliberate steps. The tight curve guided movement, encouraging careful balance and awareness of each footfall. Every turn shaped how one ascended or descended, emphasizing caution and mindful motion. These staircases combined secrecy with strategy, turning simple movement into a controlled, deliberate experience. Imagining them now evokes a calm sense of careful pacing, attentive presence, and the quiet precision of stone guiding motion through hidden spaces. Some passages were intentionally narrow to slow intruders. Certain hidden passages were deliberately made narrow, forcing anyone who entered to move slowly and carefully. The walls pressed close, and ceilings sometimes required bending, creating a natural constraint that limited speed and forced caution. Walking through these corridors, travelers became acutely aware of their surroundings. Every step was measured, every shift in balance intentional. The space encouraged mindfulness and patience, turning movement into a quiet, deliberate practice. These narrow passages shaped both security and experience. They slowed unwanted guests while guiding those who knew the path, blending design, intention, and subtle control. Imagining them now evokes a calm sense of careful movement, gentle awareness, and the quiet rhythm of deliberate steps. False exits were common to mislead invaders. Some hidden passages included false exits, cleverly designed to appear as real doors or corridors. These decoys led nowhere, confusing anyone unfamiliar with the castle and protecting its true secrets. Walking near a false exit required careful attention. The stone walls seemed to suggest a path, yet the corridor could end abruptly or curve unexpectedly. Travelers familiar with the castle moved confidently, while intruders were gently misled by the architecture itself. These deceptive passages shaped both defense and perception. They transformed movement into an exercise in awareness, patience, and observation. Imagining them now evokes a calm sense of caution, measured steps, and the subtle play of stone guiding those who move quietly through hidden spaces. Certain passages could be quickly flooded in emergencies. Some hidden passages were designed to be filled with water during emergencies. By controlling channels or sluices, the castle could block or slow intruders while protecting its defenders. These passages became temporary barriers, adding an extra layer of security. Walking through such corridors, one could sense the weight of water just beyond the walls or under the stone floor. The air might feel cooler, damp, and still. Travelers had to be aware of the corridor's hidden potential, moving deliberately and attentively along the stone. These floodable passages combine design, defense, and timing. Imagining them now evokes a sense of careful awareness, slow, measured steps, and the quiet presence of water as a protective, unseen force within the castle. Some hidden passages were sealed ritually rather than structurally. Certain hidden passages were closed with ritual gestures instead of permanent stone or heavy doors. Seals, symbols, or careful placement of objects marked the corridor as inaccessible, invoking both tradition and caution. Walking near these passages, travelers felt the quiet authority of intention. The corridor seemed present but forbidden, its closure enforced not by weight or lock, but by respect and understanding. Movement became slower, mindful, and aware of unseen rules. These ritual seals shaped perception and behavior. They reminded those who knew the castle that not all barriers were physical, and that quiet adherence to tradition could guide movement as effectively as stone walls. Imagining them now evokes calm, measured awareness, and the gentle respect of hidden spaces. Crescent moon. Hidden passages sometimes allowed discreet observation of halls or courtyards. Some hidden passages were designed with small openings, peepholes, or slits, allowing occupants to observe halls, courtyards, or gatherings without being seen. These discreet vantage points provided awareness while maintaining complete secrecy. Walking through such passages, travelers learned to move carefully, attuned to the stone and the positions of these subtle observation points. Shadows softened, and silence guided each step, creating a quiet rhythm of careful attention. These passages shaped both perception and strategy. They allowed the castle's residents to see without being seen, blending observation with discretion. Imagining them now evokes a sense of gentle vigilance, slow movement, and the quiet presence of hidden eyes watching through stone. Secret routes enabled silent movement during sieges or unrest. Some hidden corridors were created to allow quiet, undetected movement during times of siege or civil unrest. Couriers, defenders, or nobles could traverse the castle without drawing attention, maintaining order and communication. Walking these passages required careful, deliberate steps. The walls absorbed sound, narrow turns encouraged slow movement, and light was minimized to preserve secrecy. Every step was measured, turning passage into a quiet exercise in awareness and patience. These secret routes shaped both strategy and experience. They allowed movement without disturbance, blending discretion with safety. Imagining them now evokes a calm sense of silent purpose, a gentle rhythm of stone guiding each careful, unhurried step. Hidden corridors could amplify whispers to alert distant rooms. Some hidden corridors were designed so that sound, especially whispers, could travel farther than expected. Small niches, curved walls, or subtle angles carried faint voices to distant rooms, allowing messages to move quietly without visual contact. Walking through these passages, travelers sensed the unusual clarity of soft sounds. The corridor itself seemed alive, guiding whispers along stone walls, creating a subtle network of communication hidden from sight. Every echo encouraged careful, deliberate movement and quiet awareness. These sound-amplifying corridors shaped both communication and experience. They allowed messages to travel discreetly, blending secrecy, stone, and subtle acoustics. Imagining them now evokes a calm, gentle awareness, where every whispered step and soft sound moves slowly through the quiet space. Certain secret corridors allowed for communication without exposure. Some hidden corridors were designed so that people could speak, pass messages, or signal to others without being seen. Small openings, angled walls, or carefully placed niches enabled communication across the castle while remaining completely concealed. Walking through these corridors required awareness and patience. Travelers learned to move slowly, mindful of walls, shadows, and subtle openings. The corridor itself seemed to encourage quiet interaction, guiding words and gestures without drawing attention. These communication corridors shaped both discretion and strategy. They allowed connection while maintaining secrecy, blending stone, silence, and subtle movement. Imagining them now evokes a calm sense of slow, deliberate presence, where communication travels gently and invisibly through hidden spaces. Certain secret corridors allowed for communication without exposure. Some hidden corridors were designed so that people could speak, pass messages, or signal to others without being seen. Small openings, angled walls, or carefully placed niches enabled communication across the castle while remaining completely concealed. Walking through these corridors required awareness and patience. Travelers learned to move slowly, mindful of walls, shadows, and subtle openings. The corridor itself seemed to encourage quiet interaction, guiding words and gestures without drawing attention. These communication corridors shaped both discretion and strategy. They allowed connection while maintaining secrecy, blending stone, silence, and subtle movement. Imagining them now evokes a calm sense of slow, deliberate presence, where communication travels gently and invisibly through hidden spaces. Hidden corridors sometimes allowed messages to travel along walls. Some hidden corridors were designed so that messages could be passed along the walls rather than by moving people. Small carvings, notches, or subtle markers allowed information to travel discreetly, unseen by most who entered the passage. Walking through these corridors required attentiveness. Travelers noticed textures, symbols, or subtle signals, moving slowly to follow or deliver messages. The walls themselves became part of communication, guiding motion and attention in quiet, deliberate ways. These message-carrying corridors shaped both secrecy and connection. They allowed information to move safely while preserving the calm of the castle. Imagining them now evokes a gentle sense of awareness, measured steps, and the quiet rhythm of messages moving invisibly through stone. Certain corridors were built to trap light for signaling. Some hidden corridors were designed to capture and direct light in subtle ways. Small openings, polished niches, or angled walls could reflect beams to signal distant points within the castle, allowing communication without sound or visible movement. Walking through these passages, travelers noticed soft glimmers and gentle shifts in illumination. Light became a guide, creating quiet patterns along the stone, encouraging slow, deliberate movement and mindful attention. These light-trapping corridors shaped both strategy and experience. They allowed discreet signaling while maintaining secrecy, blending stone, shadow, and illumination into a calm, controlled rhythm. Imagining them now evokes a serene awareness, where light moves slowly and purposefully through hidden spaces. Hidden passages occasionally preserved strategic routes for centuries. Some hidden passages remained in use, or at least intact, for hundreds of years, preserving secret routes through the castle that had been planned long before. Stone walls, carefully maintained floors, and subtle maintenance ensured that these corridors survived the passage of time. Walking through them, one could feel the quiet weight of history. Each step echoed with centuries of movement, footsteps long past, and the careful intention of builders who understood both secrecy and longevity. The corridor seemed timeless, a calm presence connecting generations. These enduring passages shaped both strategy and memory. They allowed secrets and pathways to persist, blending durability, design, and quiet continuity. Imagining them now evokes a sense of slow, deliberate movement through spaces where time itself seems to pause, carrying you gently through history. Some secret tunnels were used to move prisoners without disrupting castle life. Certain hidden tunnels allowed the discreet transfer of prisoners from one part of the castle to another, avoiding the main halls and courtyards. This ensured that daily life continued without disturbance, and that movement remained unseen by most occupants. Walking through these tunnels, travelers could feel the careful planning in every turn. Walls were smooth, ceilings just high enough, and the corridor guided movement in a slow, deliberate rhythm. Silence dominated, creating an atmosphere of cautious attention. These tunnels shaped both security and order. They allowed control and discretion, blending movement, secrecy, and calm efficiency. Imagining them now evokes a gentle sense of measured steps, quiet stone, and the soft rhythm of passage without disturbance. Hidden corridors sometimes led to outdoor hideaways for escape. Some hidden corridors opened to secret outdoor hideaways, tucked behind walls, in gardens, or beneath tree cover. These exits provided discreet routes for escape or quiet movement outside the castle, offering safety while remaining completely unseen. Walking through these passages, travelers felt the anticipation of light and open air ahead. The corridor guided each step gently, turning slowly toward the hidden exit. Shadows and stone gradually gave way to the soft sounds and sense of the outdoors. These escape corridors shaped both strategy and experience. They allowed movement, freedom, and protection while preserving secrecy. Imagining them now evokes a calm sense of slow, deliberate progression, from enclosed stone to quiet, concealed spaces beneath sky and foliage. Some passages connected to secret gardens. Certain hidden passages led quietly to secret gardens tucked away behind walls or beneath terraces. These gardens were private sanctuaries filled with plants, flowers, or quiet spaces for contemplation, accessible only to those who knew the path. Walking through these corridors, travelers felt the anticipation of greenery and gentle sunlight beyond stone walls. The passage guided movement slowly, softening steps and encouraging awareness of scent, air, and shadow. These garden-connected passages shaped both secrecy and tranquility. They offered escape from the castle's bustle and a quiet connection to nature. Imagining them now evokes calm footsteps, soft light, and the gentle rhythm of moving toward hidden beauty. Hidden passages sometimes led to natural springs. Some hidden corridors were built to provide discreet access to natural springs, ensuring fresh water without leaving the castle exposed. These passages connected stone and earth with the life-giving flow of water, offering both utility and quiet refuge. Walking through these corridors, travelers could feel a subtle change in air, cooler, slightly humid, and infused with the scent of flowing water. Each step became deliberate, mindful, attuned to both stone beneath the feet and the gentle murmur nearby. These spring-connected passages shaped both practicality and calm. They allowed safe, hidden access to essential resources while maintaining discretion. Imagining them now evokes a serene sense of movement, the soft rhythm of stone guiding one toward quiet, hidden waters. Certain passages were used for astronomy observation. Some hidden passages were positioned to allow discreet observation of the night sky. Small openings, angled walls, or unobstructed vantage points enabled careful study of stars, planets, or celestial events without drawing attention. Walking through these corridors, travelers felt a quiet anticipation of light and sky beyond the stone. The passage guided steps slowly, encouraging focus, awareness, and a calm, measured pace. Shadows and walls framed the experience, making observation a deliberate and intimate practice. These astronomy passages shaped both knowledge and contemplation. They allowed secret learning and reflection, blending stone, darkness, and the vastness of the heavens. Imagining them now evokes a gentle sense of wonder, slow movement, and quiet attention to the night above. Hidden corridors occasionally had inscriptions or markings of past residents. Some hidden corridors preserved subtle inscriptions, graffiti, or markings left by those who had walked the passages before. These could include names, dates, symbols, or small messages, offering a quiet trace of past presence. Walking through these corridors, travelers could feel a gentle connection to those long gone. Fingers might brush faint carvings, eyes follow etched lines, and the passage seemed to carry the memory of countless footsteps. Every mark told a story, whispered softly through stone. These marked corridors shaped both history and perception. They allowed the past to linger in quiet, subtle ways, blending secrecy with the human touch of memory. Imagining them now evokes a calm awareness of time, gentle footsteps, and the soft rhythm of stone bearing witness. Some secret corridors stored ceremonial objects. Certain hidden corridors were used to store ceremonial objects, such as ritual tools, banners, or sacred artifacts, keeping them safe and out of sight until needed. These spaces combine discretion with reverence, blending utility and ceremony. Walking through these corridors, travelers could sense the quiet importance of the objects nearby. The air felt still, almost reverent, as if the passage itself recognized the weight of tradition and care. Every step was deliberate, guided by the knowledge of hidden significance. These storage corridors shaped both secrecy and respect. They preserved delicate items while maintaining calm order. Imagining them now evokes a gentle sense of mindfulness, slow, measured movement, and the quiet rhythm of guardianship within stone walls. Some passages doubled as acoustic chambers for communication. Certain hidden corridors were shaped to enhance sound, allowing messages to travel clearly from one end to the other. Curved walls, niches, and precise angles made whispers carry farther, enabling discreet communication across the castle. Walking through these passages, travelers could notice the subtle clarity of sound. Even a soft word echoed gently along the stone, guiding attention and movement. Every step became mindful, aware of how the corridor carried not just bodies, but sound itself. These acoustic passages shaped both secrecy and connection. They allowed communication without exposure, blending stone, design, and careful movement. Imagining them now evokes a calm sense of attentive presence, slow footsteps, and the quiet flow of whispered words along hidden walls. Certain hidden corridors were used to transport banners or flags discreetly. Some secret corridors allowed the discreet movement of banners, flags, or other ceremonial symbols. They could be carried from storage to halls or towers without drawing attention, preserving both surprise and ceremony. Walking through these passages, travelers felt the gentle weight of careful purpose. Every step was deliberate, ensuring the objects remained unharmed, while shadows and walls guided motion quietly. The corridor itself seemed to encourage measured, thoughtful movement. These ceremonial corridors shaped both function and reverence. They blended secrecy with the ritual of display, turning ordinary movement into a quiet act of care. Imagining them now evokes a sense of calm attentiveness, slow steps, and the gentle rhythm of stone carrying hidden treasures. Some hidden passages connected to clock mechanisms or bell towers. Certain hidden passages led quietly to the inner workings of clock mechanisms or bell towers. They allowed caretakers to move unseen, maintain equipment, or adjust timekeeping devices without disturbing the castle above. Walking through these corridors, travelers felt the subtle rhythm of the castle. The faint echoes of machinery, the slight hum of moving gears, or the distant toll of a bell created a calm, measured atmosphere. Every step was deliberate, in tune with the quiet pulse of the stone and metal around them. These corridors shaped both function and discretion. They preserved the castle's routines while allowing hidden access. Imagining them now evokes a gentle sense of synchronization, slow, deliberate movement, and the quiet rhythm of stone and metal working together. Hidden passages sometimes preserved delicate artifacts. Some hidden passages were carefully used to protect delicate artifacts, shielding them from damage, light, or unwelcome attention. Objects of beauty, history, or ritual could remain safe within the quiet stone corridors. Walking through these passages, travelers sensed the gentle importance of what was stored nearby. The air felt still, the walls absorbing sound, and each step was deliberate, as if honoring the presence of precious items. These artifact-preserving passages shaped both secrecy and care. They allowed treasures to survive while remaining unseen, blending protection with calm awareness. Imagining them now evokes a serene sense of careful movement, slow steps, and the gentle rhythm of stone keeping hidden wonders safe. Certain secret corridors were lined with decorative carvings recognizable only to residents. Some hidden corridors were adorned with carvings, patterns, or symbols meant to be understood only by the castle's residents. These subtle decorations conveyed meaning, memory, or messages to those familiar with their significance. Walking through these corridors, travelers might notice shapes or lines that others would overlook. The stone walls seemed alive with quiet stories, guiding movement and thought with gentle suggestion. Every step became an act of recognition, awareness, and connection. These decorated corridors shaped both intimacy and secrecy. They allowed residents to navigate with understanding while preserving the hidden beauty of the castle. Imagining them now evokes calm, attentive movement, slow steps, and the quiet presence of stone telling its private stories. Some passages were used for meditation or private reflection. Certain hidden passages offered quiet spaces for meditation, contemplation, or personal reflection. Away from the noise and activity of the castle, these corridors allowed travelers to move slowly, breathe deeply, and be alone with their thoughts. Walking through these passages, one could feel the calm of stone walls surrounding them. Shadows softened, air felt cooler, and every step encouraged deliberate, unhurried movement. The corridor itself seemed to invite stillness and awareness, a gentle pause in time. These reflective passages shaped both mind and movement. They created private sanctuaries within the castle, blending solitude, calm, and intention. Imagining them now evokes a serene sense of presence, slow footsteps, and the quiet rhythm of thought and stone together. Hidden passages sometimes transported food or animals discreetly. Some hidden corridors were designed to move food, supplies, or even animals quietly through the castle. This allowed work to continue without disrupting the main halls or alerting visitors, maintaining both secrecy and efficiency. Walking through these passages, travelers could sense the careful purpose embedded in every step. The air might carry subtle scents, the walls absorbed sound, and movement became deliberate, slow, and attentive to the items being transported. These functional passages shaped both rhythm and discretion. They allowed life to continue smoothly behind the scenes, blending utility, quiet movement, and careful attention. Imagining them now evokes a calm sense of measured steps, gentle awareness, and the soft rhythm of hidden activity. Some passages were intentionally designed to preserve coolness or airflow. Certain hidden passages were built to maintain a cooler, more ventilated environment. Their orientation, width, and openings encouraged airflow, creating spaces where temperature and comfort were subtly controlled. Walking through these passages, travelers could feel the gentle change in air, cooler against the skin, moving softly along the stone walls. Every step became deliberate, attuned to the calming rhythm of the corridor and the quiet comfort it provided. These climate-conscious passages shaped both experience and utility. They allowed relief from heat, maintained freshness, and added a subtle layer of care to the castle's design. Imagining them now evokes a sense of calm, measured movement, and the gentle, soothing presence of cool air along stone walls. Hidden passages occasionally held small water sources for emergency survival. Some hidden passages contained small wells, cisterns, or channels that provided water in times of need. These secret sources ensured that those familiar with the castle could access life-sustaining resources quietly and safely. Walking through these passages, travelers might notice the subtle sound of water or feel a slight increase in humidity. Every step became deliberate, mindful of the corridor's hidden purpose and the life it quietly preserved. These water-holding passages shaped both survival and calm. They provided security and reassurance, blending necessity with secrecy. Imagining them now evokes a gentle sense of presence, slow, measured steps, and the quiet rhythm of water flowing within stone. Certain passages connected to private study rooms or libraries. Some hidden corridors led quietly to private study rooms or libraries, allowing scholars, nobles, or residents to move between spaces of learning without interruption. These passages preserved silence, focus, and discretion. Walking through these corridors, travelers felt a calm anticipation of quiet study ahead. The stone walls absorbed sound, the air was still, and every step encouraged measured, deliberate movement. Shadows softened, creating a gentle atmosphere of concentration and reflection. These study-connected passages shaped both privacy and thought. They allowed access to knowledge and solitude while maintaining discretion. Imagining them now evokes a serene sense of slow, attentive movement, the quiet rhythm of stone guiding each careful step toward learning and reflection. Many hidden passages were never used for their intended purpose. Some hidden passages, despite careful construction, were never actually used as planned. Perhaps forgotten, overlooked, or abandoned, they remained quiet stone corridors, empty of the movement they were meant to guide. Walking through these passages, travelers might feel the stillness of unused space. The walls held only echoes of possibility, and every step became slow, deliberate, as if honoring the intent of the builders even in absence. These unused passages shaped perception and imagination. They remind us that not all plans come to life, yet stone preserves the effort and vision behind them. Imagining them now evokes a calm awareness, slow footsteps, and the gentle rhythm of quiet, untapped space. Abandoned passages often became part of castle folklore. Some hidden passages, once abandoned or forgotten, became woven into stories and legends. Tales of ghosts, secret treasures, or mysterious events often surrounded these quiet corridors, giving them a life beyond their physical purpose. Walking near these abandoned passages, travelers might feel a subtle sense of mystery. Shadows and echoes hinted at stories left untold, and each step invited imagination to wander slowly, thoughtfully, and gently along stone walls. These folklore-filled passages shaped memory and culture. They turned silence into story, stone into narrative, and movement into an experience rich with imagination. Imagining them now evokes calm curiosity, slow steps, and the quiet rhythm of legend whispering through hidden corridors. Modern renovations occasionally reveal previously hidden corridors. Sometimes, during careful renovations or repairs, previously unknown hidden passages are discovered. Stone walls shift, floors are lifted, and secret corridors long forgotten come quietly back into light. Walking through these newly revealed passages, travelers can feel both the weight of history and the freshness of discovery. Every step is deliberate, each movement attuned to the contours of the old stone, aware of the lives and secrets that passed through before. These revealed corridors shape both understanding and wonder. They connect the past to the present, allowing hidden spaces to emerge gently from centuries of silence. Imagining them now evokes a calm sense of discovery, measured steps, and the quiet rhythm of stone unveiling its secrets. Some hidden passages created legends of ghosts, whispers, or moving walls. Certain hidden passages became the source of mysterious tales. Stories of ghosts, faint whispers, or walls that seemed to shift were often associated with corridors seldom traveled, giving them an aura of enchantment or quiet fear. Walking near these passages, travelers might sense the weight of imagination and memory. Shadows deepen, echoes linger, and each step is careful, deliberate, as though the stone itself holds stories waiting to be discovered. These legendary passages shaped both culture and perception. They turned silence into narrative, stone into the keeper of whispers and mysteries. Imagining them now evokes a gentle sense of suspense, slow footsteps, and the soft rhythm of legend moving through hidden corridors. The existence of unknown corridors added mystery and identity to castles long after abandonment. Some castles retain corridors that are never fully explored or understood. These unknown passages contribute to the aura of mystery, giving each castle a unique identity shaped by secrets long hidden within stone walls. Walking near such corridors, one feels a quiet sense of wonder. The air seems stiller, shadows deepen, and every step invites slow, deliberate exploration of what might lie beyond. The unknown itself becomes part of the experience, guiding thought and imagination. These mysterious corridors shape memory, perception, and the sense of place. They turn the castle into a living story, where every hidden stone and untraveled path whispers of history, secrecy, and imagination. Imagining them now evokes calm curiosity, measured steps, and the gentle rhythm of enduring mystery.